From a wrestler's perspective, how do you listen to the crowd? You have the spots going on in your
Generally,
head?
I use my ears. I actually tried it up my nose one time, but I had a cold that day and I couldn't really hear a goddamn thing. No, it's when you're driving. When you're driving, if you drive 15 miles, how many times you look in the rearview mirror?
Every 20 seconds or so. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I've ridden with you. You got to try every 10. You don't know. It's second nature. It's second nature. You don't really say, okay, now I'm going to listen to the crowd. You hear them. While you're doing your shit, you hear them. It's second nature. You don't listen to them. You just hear them. If you're concentrating so hard on what you're doing or trying to do that you block out all other senses, smell and taste and hearing or whatever the fuck, no, you don't. I've had, especially the guys that just begin tell me, well, I didn't hear any goddamn thing. I'd be screaming at them. I've refereed some matches with some of the guys. I'd be screaming at them, do this. I don't know what. Hit him, push me, kick me. Somehow I grabbed one guy and turned him around by the shoulder and said, read my lips if you're deaf, hit me. Because they're goddamn, they're just scared to death. I'm on TV. Oh shit, people are watching. Goddamn, there's witnesses. Relax. They can't eat you. They cannot eat you. When you go to the ring, they cannot cook you, put you on a barbecue, cut you up with a knife, take a fork and eat you. If they can't do that, what's the worst that can happen? Have a stinky fucking match. It's been done before. Repeatedly.
Looking at managing now, which I guess this can also apply to seconds and valets. Well, what's the role of the manager or second or whatever it happens to be these days?
I don't know shit from apple butter about what the role is these days.
For instance, how
the art has somewhat been lost. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for instance, how can you add to the match without taking away from what the guys are doing in the ring?
Well, see, the thing is, that's easy. You time your spots. You augment the match. The manager is supposed to talk the people into the building or help talk them in. The manager is supposed to interfere in the finish. The manager is supposed to really get the people riled up when the guys come to the ring. But when they're having their match, if it's arm drag and hip toss, double atomic drop, and double knockout in the middle of the ring, and down they go, boom, 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 then I should just be reacting to what's going on. Because even if there's 3 people in the building watching me, if I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm waiting for my next spot with a stone face while my guys are getting beat up or beating somebody up, then those 3 people know, well, okay, there's something going on here. But if my guys are beating somebody up and I'm like, yeah, beautiful, yeah, I'm a cheerleader, right? I should be. They're my guys. I want to see them win. If they're getting their ass handed to them, oh, shit, fuck, jeez. For those 3 people that might, for some reason, possibly they lead very empty lives and they're watching me instead of the match. So at least they're going, yeah, fuck, boy, he's really upset. It makes it phony if you don't do that. But then now, in a match, invariably, for every spot and bing, bing, bing and big bump and all that stuff, there's also the part where there comes the chin lock or there comes the headlock or whatever. There's my time to fucking scream at the referee or to attract some attention to me so that also, while they're in the headlock and somebody's going, okay, one tackle, drop down, hip toss, move on the elbow, get it again, whatever, people are not watching them do that. They're watching me yell at the referee. They're watching me yell at the people in the front row. Don't be saying that shit you're saying. Whatever. As soon as they're in motion again, then I should be back watching intently because the match is the thing. And once again, a manager can be chased around the ring. I've had my shoes pulled off. I've had my pants pulled off. I've had all my clothes pulled off, and I was just in the Ring of Honor offices. I've had all kinds of shit done to me. I've been hit over the head with things, faces and cake. You can do all kinds of stuff because that way you don't have to do it to the wrestlers. The Midnight Express were not stripped or embarrassed or humiliated. Jim Cornette was. I always feel like the manager should not only be the funny one in terms of saying, and I was the funny guy in wrestling, right? I was the one told all the jokes. Then when all wrestling got funny, I was the only one that got serious. I had to, because before I was the only one doing funny. When everybody start doing funny, okay, motherfuckers, I'll do serious. But the manager can be the funny one without taking heat off his guys. They're not getting dressed in a dress. I am. They're not getting their head shaved? I am. They're not getting tarred and feathered. I am. So they keep their heat, and they try to save me, and they come back and try to get even, and I'm screaming, God damn, I'm your boss, I pay you, I'll give you any amount of money, kill those motherfuckers did that to me. So you can do stuff to the manager without taking heat off the wrestlers. And in matches, once again at ringside, to close up on your question, if I'm going to interfere in the match, I need to get in and get out. I need to do it behind the referee's back. I never take my eye off the referee, because if the referee sees me, I expect him in an OVW. I tell this, if the referee sees an automatic disqualification, whether it be an over the top rope or a pile driver or somebody interfering, if he don't call it, I'm going to hit the ring and beat his ass, because the referee is the authority. If the people don't believe in the referee, if the people think it's all just bullshit, that's why I couldn't stand that ECW-ish type of thing, and I hate all this modern wrestling where people just come in that are not involved in the match, run in and do shit, and the referee's standing there, and here comes a chair. Why is a chair in the ring? Is it a no DQ match? Well, if it's not a no DQ match, why didn't somebody get disqualified? Because if you don't have any rules, you can't break the rules. If you can't break the rules, you can't get any heat on somebody. Because if there are no rules, you're not a heel for taking a chainsaw and cutting a dog's head off. So that's a manager has to get in and get out and interfere, not be seen by the referee, boom, 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 but not distract from the overall match, augment it. Okay. And that's, once again, the pace of some of these matches these days and the way that people come in and out and back and forth. If I'm a first-time viewer, I think every match should be constructed so that a wrestling fan can enjoy it and not only understand it, but understand the subtleties. But a first-time viewer that's just clicking the channels can go, oh, shit. And he knows one guy's trying to beat the other guy. You don't have to explain to him or have graphics on the screen, well, this guy actually is allowed to use a chair because of so-and-so and such, and, these people are allowed to run in, and who's responsible for this? What's the referee doing? He's just standing there. I talk to my dentist a lot. My dentist watches our show because he's my dentist, but he's not a huge wrestling fan, so he asks the questions that a lot of casual fans will ask. Well, now wait a minute. Why were those two guys yelling at each other like that, but they didn't fight? Good question. Why didn't they fucking fight that night? Maybe I did it wrong. Anyway.
Okay. Switching over to tag team wrestling now. Is the psychology of tag team wrestling pretty much the same as singles wrestling?
Kind of, sort of, but not really. And once again, now, they're asking me questions here, folks, like I just came down from the Sermon on the Mount with these stone tablets. As Ole Anderson said to me, Cornette, I used to think you were a dumb fuck, but so many other dumb fucks have come along that are worse than you. You moved up the ladder without doing anything. I'm not Eddie Graham. I'm not Bill Watts. I'm not Dusty Rhodes. I'm not Jerry Jarrett. But, geez, since they're not sitting here, I guess I'm the best you got. There are similarities and there are differences. A singles match needs to go more back and forth. You don't get because you don't get the pure baby faces using their teamwork to overcome the heels and frustrate them, and then the heels having to resort to these illegal tactics and in and out and back and forth and behind the referee's back. In a singles match, you can't do as much behind the referee's back because there's nobody to distract. Even if there's a manager, still there's nobody on the other side to come in, blah blah blah. So it's a little more back and forth, but there's a lot of similarities.
What would you say are some of the most perfect tag teams that you've had a chance to work with, and what made them a perfect tag team?
Obviously we made more money than anybody else with the Rock and Roll Express because they were one of the, except for the Fabulous Ones, and we never worked with the Fabulous Ones, believe it or not. The Midnight Express, when it was Bob Eaton and Dennis Condrey, never worked with the Fabs, and we just never in the same place. But after the Fabs, the Rock and Roll were the first MTV-style babyface team, but whereas the Fabs were more kick-ass guys because they were bigger for the time, and they didn't sell as much, and they were more male modelish. There's Ricky and Robert who are babyface at the time. I mean, look at the 80s music videos. Ricky and Robert looked like the average guy walking down the street. As ludicrous as it may seem to some people who were born in the 80s, yes, the bandanas and the long hair was over, folks. Watch the Poison video every now and then. Ricky Morton could sell his ass off unlike anybody ever. He could take a classic ass whooping. He could engender sympathy. He could make you believe that he was being tortured. And Robert Gibson, to be honest, was there to take that tag and clean house. It didn't have the same dynamic when you got the heat on Robert and gave the tag to Ricky. Both of them filled their spot perfectly. The Rock and Roll were a great team because of that. They were underdogs. They didn't have to be strong and kick ass and destroy people to get over. They did it because they were likable and they were feisty and they were underdogs. Fantastics, there wasn't, I think actually Bobby and Tommy were more interchangeable in their parts. And it didn't hurt to match because they were both underdogs, and there wasn't a real big size difference. But what great workers, what great athletes, and they both could sell. The Southern Boys we had great matches with because Tracy's mother, Steve Armstrong, we got him over in Baltimore. On these the Midnight Express tapes you'll see, and I'm not saying that we're responsible for their success. I'm saying that when you take the Wild Out Southern Boys with stars and bars, Confederate flag on their ass, and waving the flag and send them into Baltimore, that's a recipe for destruction. Better you should send, like Louis Farrakhan to a Nazi meeting than send the Wild Out Southern Boys to Baltimore. But the people there believed in the Midnight Express. The Southern Boys were just coming in, and they farted on them. But then all four guys had such a great match that at the end they gave them a standing ovation because they saw they were talented and they could look past the regional gimmick. We had so many good matches with different kinds of tag teams. Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, I wish so much that we'd had a chance to run that thing for 6 months. Because we had maybe 6 or 7 arena matches with them and nothing on television before they ended up leaving and going to the WWF. But the matches were tear the roof off the place type of matches because it was really 4 excellent workers, doing what they could do. And then me and JJ stand outside going, okay, he had a shoe, I had a tennis racket, and we're watching them. We're having fun too. But there were a lot of teams you could have. One good thing about an old-fashioned, especially an old-fashioned Southern heel team, they could change the kind of match they had and change their style to fit the opponent. We wouldn't have the same match with the Road Warriors as we did with the Rock and Roll Express, as we did with the Fantastics, as we did with the Southern Boys, as we did with Brian Pillman and Z-Man, as we did with Bill Watts and Junkyard Dog, as we did with, whoever. Because the heels, especially in those days, were responsible in a lot of part for leading the match, and the idea was to get the babyface over. Actually get the match over. Dennis Condrey always said this, and you ask him about this, get the match over. Because a lot of guys are just worried about getting their own stuff in and them looking good. Well, you know what? Transfer this to Hollywood. Who's a great actor these days? I'd say Laurence Olivier, and nobody was even born by the time he died if he's dead. DiCaprio. Say again now? Leonardo DiCaprio. Is he a great actor? Or is he just...
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. There you go. De Niro, Pacino. They've made some really stinky fucking movies. Not a lot, but some. And people remember, well, there was goddamn a stinky fucking movie. But if a great actor is in a great movie and everything gets over, then they start winning Academy Awards. Who's the last person that won an Academy Award for a great performance in a box office stinker? Can you think of any? I can't. I'm not prepared. Point is, get the match over and the people will remember, I saw the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express in a great match. Not... I saw the Midnight Express in a match with, Tom and Bill, and boy, it pretty well fucking sucked, but Midnight Express got their shit in. The fuck? If the match stinks, it don't matter whether you got your shit in or not because it still stunk. And we've had some stinkers because things just didn't line up right, but it wasn't for lack of trying. Get the match over. Don't get your shit in.
Okay. Let's look at gimmick matches. How should a gimmick, for instance, like a no-rope barbed wire match or a steel cage match, how should the gimmick in the match be used to get the most out of using the gimmick?
Well, in a no-rope barbed wire match, first thing they need to do is not book me. Cause
that was, let's say, a bull match. That was a bad example for
well, no. Actually, the first barbed wire matches I ever saw were in late 79, early 80s in Tennessee. What they would do is they'd leave the ring just like it was, and they would wrap barbed wire around the ring posts. So you could use the whole ring, and then when you grabbed the guy and took him and leaned him out and tried to rub his face in the barbed wire, people went crazy, right? There's barbed wire around the ring post. You've got that far from the barbed wire to the ropes, and then you got all the inside of the ring. But you can't get out. Oh, you try to go out. Oh, shit, I'm going to cut myself. Oh, golly. Oh, jeez. Oh, and a little blood and everything. Now, there's goddamn big old rolls of barbed wire in the fucking ring with no ropes. The barbed wire out on the floor. People being slammed and suplexed into it. And people sitting there going, ooh, that was cool. What are they going to do next? People bleeding like they've been run through razor blade factories. Do not demean your gimmicks. Don't cheapen your gimmicks. If you've got a taped fist match, then don't punch the guy 74 fucking times with a taped fist. Wrestle, work, tape fist, brass knucks, coal miner's glove, whatever. Wrestle, work, go to do it, guy ducks, can't get a clear shot. Bam! First time you nail him, he's either bleeding or he's goofy or he gets knocked to the floor or whatever. Use your gimmicks. With a coal miner's glove match, which isn't even seen anymore these days. They didn't climb the pole, get the glove with the metal-studded knuckles, and hit the guy 17 fucking times. He should be dead. What is this sledgehammer business, for God's sake? Give me a sledgehammer. Let me hit fucking bad boy down at the gym, 6'9", 330 fucking pounds. Let me give one shot, me, flabby fucking pasty white with a fucking sledgehammer. I'll hit that motherfucker. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. Keep it believable. Use your gimmicks. Don't cheapen your gimmicks. If it's a bull rope match, what's the object? My left wrist to your left wrist. You can't get away from me, I can't get away from you. There's a bell in the middle we can hit each other with. Pull each other around, choke, through the crotch, with the bell, whatever. But guys now would take the fucking bell and take it off and shove it up the guy's ass and let him fucking run around the ring tingling fucking jingle bells. And that'd be for a goddamn high spot. That wouldn't even be the finish. Give me some more matches.
Dog collar.
Dog collar. Say what now?
Lumberjack match. Dog collar.
Lumberjack match. Lumberjack match. The object of the lumberjack match is that everybody's around the ring because these two guys have a grudge, and one of them is going to bail. We know it. That heel's going to bail unless all those guys are there to throw him back in. But is it fair if only one guy's friends are there? So you bring everybody's friends. So now, once again, if you have a lumberjack match and the first time somebody takes a bump out on the floor, immediately every lumberjack comes over there and gets in a goddamn big Hey Rube, a big Donnybrook, everybody's punching, beating everybody. You've seen it. So first the guy tries to fucking bail and see, oh shit, I've gone to the wrong side. Oh shit, jumps back in, then goes to the other side. I'm here with my friends. But as he jumps out with his friends, here come the other guys, and he, oh shit. And as they start to get a little skirmish, he rolls back in where the guy takes over again, bing, bing, bing. And you don't get in the big schmaz till the end. All I'm saying is, with any gimmick, make it mean something. Don't cheapen it. Don't overdo it. Don't hit a guy 17 fucking times with the same thing and not kill him. You know, a baseball bat. Once again, I'm very sparing. Every once in a while I have a baseball bat. Usually a gut shot, usually just to chase the guy off, or if somebody's a really good worker, every once in a while you go for the head shot but one. Because who's going to get hit in the head twice with a baseball bat? I mean, except for post-mortem. People don't believe. If a motherfucker comes out with a baseball bat and is chasing people around and people are running, screaming for their fucking lives and, oh my God, he's going to kill me, that's excitement. Once you hit the motherfucker once, maybe he takes a big-ass bump over the top or he fucking shot in the boom and off he goes. Ah, that's excitement. Hit him boom over the back of the head, boom, drive it in it. Now, and also, who takes a baseball bat by the goddamn end and does this shit? I did it with a tennis racket because actually there really is no accepted way to hit a motherfucker with a tennis racket. I pretty well invented that. So we can do like that, we can do like that, we can do whatever we want. But with a baseball bat, you're pretty well going to hit the motherfucker, right? Hit him 5 times, people are going, oh, fuck. Because it don't make sense. But everybody's trying to go one further. Everybody's trying to do something better. Everybody's trying to get, I'm going to get myself over. I'm going to hit the son of a bitch 7 times with a baseball bat with nails sticking out of it. Well, then you're a big fucking pussy if he ain't dead. If I'm invited to the funeral next week, you're over. Otherwise, fuck you. It's stupid.
How about like a title match, like a world title match? What can a guy do in a world title match to make that separate or stand apart from like a regular match?
Keep his mouth shut and his ears open and listen to everything the champion tells him. Because the champion wouldn't be the champion unless he knew what he was doing, in most cases. This is one of those that the times may have changed because there's so many title matches now. And fans my age and people who were fans when I was a kid, they could remember the dates and places and times and cities that every title changed hands in. You could go from Pat O'Connor, Gene Kaniski, Dory Funk Jr., Harley Race, and Jack Briscoe, blah, 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 and quote it. And now titles change so often that you can't keep track of it. It doesn't have the same meaning. But when I was a kid and I got a chance to see a world title match, it was once a year that I'd see it live. And I'm like, wow. And even to the point where a lot of the people who were kind of smart, and there was nobody smart in those days like there is now. The first time I ever heard the phrase high spot, I was in Memphis TV dressing room for my first day as manager. That's the first time I ever heard the phrase high spot. Because there was no internet, there were no newsletters, and that shit didn't get repeated. So people would say, say what you want to, but those world title now, those things are on the level, because even people who were smart. So you worked it a little more seriously. You obviously the champion was always a guy who could work with anybody, or most time was, and it was presented more as a prestigious deal. You never saw it on television. You always had to go to the arenas. Now it'd be the equivalent of pay-per-view. I hate when there's free world title matches on television because, Matt Morgan, the OVW champion this year, I think he went 4 months without wrestling, but maybe once on television because he's the champion. And we were doing our Six Flags shows. And he would come out and not use these words because we'd been kicked off the air, but basically he'd say, you motherfuckers have to pay to see me Friday night at Six Flags because I'm the champion and I'm too good to wrestle on television. But I will take John Cena or Nick Dinsmore or Big Bad John or Chris Benoit or whoever it may be, and I'll show them why they call me the Blueprint. And he would talk them into the building. They pay to see the champion. Things are more television oriented now. People are, getting rights fees for television. So of course you got to change with the times. But still, title matches should always, I think, be protected as a little something a little more special, a little more serious. Only with people. If I have my champion wrestling, that's just the OVW champion. He's champion of the Ohio Valley. Jeez, what's next? The Poughkeepsie heavyweight champion, But at the same time, if he wrestles on television, it's either in a title match against a top contender, or it's in a non-title match because how does Josephus out of the barn here get a title match? If it's real, if it's something prestigious that people should want and go for and fight for and want to possess, then how does the fourth guy from the bottom of your babyface, roster get a title match? Because you want to have a title match on TV. Well, fuck. Big shit. People are going, we don't give a fuck, so it's a title match. The guy ain't going to win, so you're just devaluing your title matches.
How about within the match? What should guys do within the match to make the title more important? Or should there be more pinfalls, for instance, or more false finishes, or does that depend on what kind of champion it is?
Well, it does, but also, it's not necessarily, there always should be a lot of false finishes, especially toward the end, a guy trying to win. Whether it be the heel on top trying to put the babyface away because he figures he's in trouble and he's got to do it quick, or the babyface gets a second lease on life and he's really putting the pressure on the guy to get the people on the edge of their seat. Is he going to win? Is he going to win? Is he going to win? Especially if you're going to pull the rug out from under him. But that's for any great main event match. It doesn't necessarily have to be confined to a title match. And I just think that, when I would go back and watch Harley Race or Ric Flair, or actually even before that, Jack Briscoe for the Style of the Day, those were the epitome of title matches. And those guys really knew how to do things right. And if you can go back 50 years and say Luthez, the style has changed, but the champion should always have a little bit more aura.
Okay. Looking at the pacing of the match, something that I read in the notes, which you give out to the OVW students, is how, for instance, Wyndham and Flair used to bring the crowd up and down like a yo-yo. Could you explain that for the people?
Well, you might even want to put in a clip, of one of those Flair Wyndham matches, because there was a point, I can't even remember the exact spot, but there's a point where Wyndham just starts firing back, boom, boom, and Flair's rocking, and boom, and all of a sudden in desperation there's a headlock, and I think he shoots him off and a tackle and a drop down, and goes for a clothesline, and Wyndham comes off the other side with a crossbody, and they both go over to the top rope together. So you've got all of a sudden boom, 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 and they start coming alive, and now they're running. People go, oh shit, where's this going to end up? Crossbody over the top rope, poof. And they go, holy shit, and now both guys are down on the floor. Now they got to start crawling back in together. They're not out there wasting time. They gave the people a chance to go, holy fuck, thought he had him then. Whatever. You hear the people in the arena get as far as they can go, and once they're all the way up here screaming, they do something to bring them down, but not just grab a hold, where people go, pfft. They did a big thing that registered, pfft. How can they top that? They can't. So now let's rest. Now the people are breathing. Now they're climbing back in. Now they're going to go do something else. A lot of times with the Midnight Express matches, what we would do is, if I was going to get nailed by the babyface, that would be the spot right before we get the heat. Because the babyfaces would look good, boom, 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 and I'd get more frustrated, and they'd get more frustrated, and finally we'd get into something where they chased me, I'd run in, double knockout, or I'd be up, and they'd bonk them and nail me, boom, and down I'd go, and I'd be on the floor, and once I got hit. So now remember this, when your managers, or your girls, or your referees, or your announcers, or your seconds, or whoever, non-wrestlers, when they get in a fight, it naturally gets more reaction than the wrestlers, because not necessarily they're more over, but they see 20 wrestlers beat the piss out of each other every night that they go to wrestling, but the manager only takes a bump or two, or the girl only takes a bump or two, or the announcer only takes a bump every so often, or the referee's only getting a fight once in a great while. So that's more special. So you can have, you can have that go on if you don't overdo it, and it gets over. So anyway, point being, bam, when a manager gets pickled, yeah, he finally saw that too. That's as high as they can get. So now let's get to heat. So bing, 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 bing. Shit happens. I'm calming the Midnight Express down. Finally they hug. All is forgiven. I turn around and say, hey, shut up you people. The baby faces come over, grab them, double head bonk. They split around. I turn around, boom, nail me off the apron. Down I go on the floor. Ricky turns around, gets a headlock on Bobby. Bobby fires him off the other side, drops down. I'm staggering up there, the racket in my hand. The referee's looking elsewhere. Bam! Crack him in the back with a racket. Whoosh! Now we pulled the rug out from under him. Now people are like, yeah! Oh, fuck! Now we get the heat. Now, once again, you got him going, you got him going, you got him going. You can't put him away. First thing, you can't, if you've really got the people going, you don't want to go in the finish right there because they're already up here. They can only go here. So, boom, you got them going. Now you get ready to go. Grab a chin lock. Let him start to fight out. Boom, boom, boom. Make the tag. Slam. Rocket launcher. Boom. 1, 2. Shit, he kicked out or he raised his shoulder. Oh my God, that's our finish. How'd he do that? People are up. Oh shit. Grab him. Bobby tag Stan. Bobby tag Dennis. Bobby tag somebody. Shoot him off. Flapjack. Boom. Goddamn cover. 1, 2. Hoot makes a save. Bam. Holy shit. Referee's putting Gibson out. Bobby grabs a fucking headlock. Ricky fires him off. Ricky drops down. The other Midnight guys coming in. Bam. Bobby or Dennis. Bobby or Stan. Boom. They have a double knockout. Ricky goes to the neutral corner. Now the people are going, tag, Ricky, tag. You got to tag. Both heels get up. They both charge. Ricky rolls between them to the middle of the ring. Dives, makes the tag to Robert out of nowhere. He could have never got that, but he got it. Whoosh. That's what they call a hot tag. An iceberg tag, where all the fingers fall off because of frostbite, is what you see a lot of times on TV these days, where one guy will be laying about this far from his corner and the other guy will be laying about that far from his corner, and they'll both reach up and just tag at the same time. If it's not a surprise, if the people can see that you can physically possibly reach your partner and make a tag, it ain't a hot tag, because it ain't a surprise. They know you're going to do it. As a matter of fact, they're wondering why it took you so long to fucking do it. You're laying right there, you dumb shit. There's people been in car wrecks can do that. So you're a fucking idiot. But if you're over in the neutral corner and there's two guys closing in on you, you got to roll this way, dive that way. Oh shit, he got it. Fuck. Democracy is saved. That's a hot tag. So you build the momentum leading into the hot tag and the comeback like that, and then when they blow, then all the guy comes in and makes a comeback, boom, 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 and you go wherever you're going. But if both guys are laying there like this, and they reach up, tag, tag, here comes two new guys. Well, if it's two guys people want to see, they'll cheer. Oh, two new guys in. What the fuck were we doing for the last 15 minutes trying to build this goddamn point up when all of a sudden it's like, tag, tag, yay! Fuck. Sorry.
So,
I digress.
looking at the pacing of longer matches, it's pretty much building to that payoff and then starting over pretty much and then building to the next payoff.
Yeah, well, you don't really start over. You can keep it going if you've got it going good. But, for example, when you get a set of false heat on one guy, we do this a lot of times, change the thing up. Or if you're in a six-man where you want to have a couple of sets of heat so you can get a couple of comebacks out of it, the false heat, are you familiar with that? The false heat, for those of you people out there who have wasted your money on this episode, is if you get one of the baby faces down and you start kicking shit out of him long enough to convince the people he's the one you're getting the heat on. Then you let him make the tag where the other guy has a comeback, and just when people are starting to go, yeah, we're liking this, but boy, this was a short son of a bitch, boom, you get that guy and you get the real heat on him, and now they don't know where the fuck you're going. And then if you do enough back and forth false finishes in the end, like the Midnight Southern Boys match was great because, boom, it looked like we were going to win, then it looked like they were going to win, then it looked like we were going to win, then it looked like they were going to win, and then finally something happens. Then that's when you get them going back and forth, yo-yo, yo-yo, yo-yo. And plus, when you can work in cliche finishes as false finishes, that's good too, because everybody now thinks they're smart, so they know the double backdrop sunset flip routine, or the this finish or that finish. Well, one time, I'm trying to think when it was. Jeez. It was on a Dennis Corluzzo show. I can't even remember who it was, but Candido may have been involved, but at any rate, point being, I came up with a finish for these guys just for fun, where we sat down and thought of 12 finishes that everybody knows, that everybody has seen, and we did them all as false finishes, but none of them worked, and there was 300 and something people there. They were all jumping up and down because they were like, God damn, this is like a greatest hits album of finishes. You know, which one is it going to be? And finally, you know what the finish was? Small package. They were like, because they were just bored. They knew we were fucking with them, but they helped. You know, they said, yeah, fuck with us. We like this. This is great. You just, if they know where the destination is, that doesn't mean they know what route you're going to take. So they know somebody's going to turn, and they know somebody's going to win the title or whatever. All hope is not lost. Just take them on a couple of detours first to convince them that they don't really know everything, and then you can still surprise them. Now, that's not to say, like some of these dumb shits that book shows, you got to have a surprise every show. Well, we've got to have a name superstar as a surprise. They got to pay a guy, and they got to fly him in, and they got to put him up, and they got to bring him out, and they don't advertise him. He's a surprise because the people have come to expect surprises. Dumb shits. A surprise, by its very definition and nature, means something that is unexpected. If they expect a surprise, how can it be a surprise? Heyman, he would do that. He got the people to the point where they had to have a surprise at every ECW arena. Well, fuck. If they expect it, it's not a surprise. You've wasted. Book a star, advertise him. People will buy tickets to see him. You will make money. Surprise them with some result of the match. Surprise them with something that happens that they don't expect. But there's another thing about Russo. That fucking prick. Let's just get him in here for a second. He would surprise people by doing shit that was so blatantly nonsensical or unexpected. You know what? I don't expect right now the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to knock on that door and ask me if I've sodomized a moose. That would be totally unexpected. That would be a huge surprise. And would also make no fucking sense. Because I may have done that to a moose if I'd been in Canada, but everybody knows I haven't been to Canada. He would do shit just to surprise people that made no sense in the story, and he would lose their viewers. Because it didn't make sense. Look at the Pretty Monkey. It didn't make sense. So you can't surprise people with shit that just blatantly is off the wall. Well, they'll never expect that for good reason. Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Sorry.
One last thing about pacing. If you could explain to the viewer out there how guys can build drama on a match by increasing the intensity or the violence or with last-ditch efforts or harder punches as the match goes on.
You know, once again, I know which match you're talking about, and I'll try not to put the Midnight Express over again, but in any kind of match like that, especially if the babyface is going over at the end, which is the best kind of Cinderella story for this to be, but you can do it both ways. But that really gets a babyface over when the heel has done everything to him but crucify him and can't beat him, and the kid keeps fighting, and keeps coming back, or keeps trying to get a tag if it's a tag match, and the heel has got to show more frustration on his face and more frustration in his body language, and just be like, what do I got to do to beat this guy? And things have to get a little more vicious, and he has to cheat a little bit more. He has to take a few more shortcuts. Has to really dig in harder, because that's building the intensity and building the emotion, the expectations of the people. My God, what is he going to have to do to beat this guy? And it gets the babyface over, and gets the heel over as a kick-ass sumbitch, but the babyface gets over as a guy who can take an ass whipping and still keep in there, keep fighting. He won't quit. Everybody hates a quitter. There's a definition of a heel. A babyface, a lot of times, can get over just by, even if he's overmatched, if he's good, if he's good enough to do other things that he needs to do. A babyface who is not a top babyface can get over more by losing, but by not quitting and having to practically be, hit with an axe to be beaten, than by winning. That's why everybody's well, geez, you beat the guy. Well, now he's dead. No. A lot of guys get over more by losing than they do by winning. So anyway, in answer to your question, boom, 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 more intensity, more frustration, even if you do win. It still took everything you had to beat that guy. People would probably like to see it again because it was close. Could have gone either way. Ali Frazier won. Ali Frazier 2. The reason for the rematch was because it could have gone either way. And when you beat somebody, once again, if it's a world title match and the world champion can't beat somebody, then who the fuck can beat him? So, Jesus Christ. If you've got a guy that, especially a babyface, that you really want to elevate, you put him in a competitive match with a known top guy, top heel, and he takes that heel to the limit, and the heel has to win by the skin of his teeth. You've elevated the babyface instead of saying, okay, we're going to put the babyface over, but the people know he's not quite ready for it, and he wins, and people go, fuck you. Once again, that had to be fake. That was bullshit. He didn't deserve that. Well, now that they know it's all fake anyway, they would say, he didn't deserve that. You push him to Rock. Die, Rocky, die. People said he may look good, but he don't deserve to be winning all these fucking matches, and they turned on him. So he used that, and he used the animosity he had, because he was out there trying to, carry on his father and grandfather's name and trying to smile and trying to do the best he can. They fucking hated his ass because they sensed, you may be special, but you ain't special yet, and you're getting pushed before you're ready. So he used that, and he said, okay, and it was believable. It was believable that he would be resentful. It was believable that he would take his frustration and his anger out on the people for saying, die, Rocky, die. And all of a sudden, then he started getting some heat as a heel, and then when he started getting more confidence, and all the rocks started coming out, then he started becoming a cool heel, and then the people turned him. Because the people, your most successful babyface heel turns, or heel babyface, actually your most successful heel babyface turns, people will turn him first. People will tell you, we're starting to like this guy, if you listen to him as a booker. And then you just give him more reasons to like the guy while he's still doing what he's doing to make them like him. Because if you just turn a guy, heel's getting over, he's getting popular. So you turn him babyface. Next week he's out kissing babies. People go, where the fuck did that come from? We liked that prick because at least he'd go out there and kick somebody's ass and wasn't worried about what people thought of him. Now he's kissing babies. Now you've killed him. Let the people turn him. Still let him keep doing the same thing he was doing that made him like him in the first place. And slowly give him a credible reason to say, okay, I'm going to fight that guy now. Turn on his partner or somebody else on that side that wants something, to where he's not just playing up to the people, he's doing it for a reason for himself, but now they get to see this guy kick the ass of that guy that they hate, using all the tactics that he usually used to kick the ass of the babyface they love. There you have it. That's perfect. That's how they managed to make us baby faces for a short period of time, because Heyman could have turned Attila the Hun baby face. But they wanted to see me fight him because, my God, I'd never want to fight in my life. But he may be a prick, but he's our prick, Cornette, whereas this fucking prick's from New York and we're in Atlanta, so fuck him, we like him better. Process of elimination. Won a popularity contest, Adolf Hitler and Genghis Khan battling it out for top spot, right? But that's something that you have to do to put people in their proper place. It's not about, this isn't writing, it's not about writing scripts, and it's about feeling. It's about emotion and psychology, and there's somebody out there that would love to see Kermit the Frog be the world heavyweight champion. I know there's one, there's got to be one, because there's somebody that likes everything. They wouldn't, if there wasn't somebody on this planet that liked everything, the German porn industry would be out of business, okay? So there's somebody that likes everything. What you have to do is you have to try to narrow it down to people a broad range of people that would like something, I don't care who wants to see Kermit the Frog. They can do their own wrestling thing. I'd rather see the people that want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin. Give me that crowd. I like that crowd. I can make some money off of them. So you got to find something, talent, that appeals to a wide variety of the audience, and put them together in situations where the people are interested to see what happens. Winners and losers are always good. Championships should always be important. And why did you piss on my leg and I'm going to get even about it? Don't make it too fucking complicated. People don't watch TV with a goddamn notebook. Same thing with the matches. Actually, some fans these days on the internet that don't get laid very often do watch the matches with a fucking notebook. Oh, well, goddamn, I'll have to take points off for that, Mr. Hurricane Rana. Fuck you, just goddamn, you ain't doing it. Give them a fucking break. They're trying. Some of them suck, but some of them are good. And some of them suck now, but would be good if you give them a chance. So lighten the fuck up.
Okay. Who are some of the wrestlers, maybe current day would be better, but some of the guys from another era, that people should study, and why should they study these people?
Well, we can't go too far back because there's no way to study many of the people until the mid-'70s because there was no videotape and very little film. Once again, I'm very heavy on Jerry Lawler because, God, he was a classic babyface. He was a classic heel for his time, for his region. And who else do you know that has drawn crowds to the same building in the same moderately sized southern city for the past 30 years? And he just sold 5,000 tickets to see him and not much else, in the Coliseum like, a month ago. He started main eventing there in 1974. And in 1 year alone, he drew like 370-something thousand paid admissions with him on top most of the time. You got to watch Ric Flair, obviously. Now, I'm not going to talk about a lot of the newer guys because everybody's seen them and everybody studied them. I'm not trying to knock or leave out a Mick Foley or a Steve Austin or a Rock or some major name like that from the past 5 years. But if you want to go back, study Dusty Rhodes. Because of his gift of talking, his promos, his ability to talk people in. And I mean, look at Dusty. I mean, he was not the most physically imposing as far as a bodybuilder, but the people thought he was tough. The people believed in him. When you go back, you look at anybody that drew money, that was on top for a long period of time, especially in more than one territory. All the NWA champions. For that matter, a lot of the top stars that worked St. Louis. A lot of the top guys in Florida, big wrestling territory. The 80s tapes from Atlanta, TBS both before and after Crockett took over. The guys can learn something from almost anybody that was really in a money-drawn position in this business. There were flukes and flashes in the pan and people who made it 6 months in one territory and never went anywhere else again. Leave that for later. But watch the top guys. Watch the guys that had the titles, that carried the territories, that got most of the television time. I guess what I'm saying is, watch old stuff. Because now what's old is new again. We wouldn't be doing the Midnight Express reunion after 20 years if they didn't want to cease. That stuff lingered in people's memory. We're not going to go out there and do the same kind of match we did 20 years ago because we're all 20 years older. But what we did 20 years ago lingered in the fans' memories to where they want to see it again. if the wrestlers of today can take from the guys today and also take from the guys of 20 years ago and see maybe Dory Funk Jr. and Jack Briscoe, St. Petersburg, Bayfront Center. They went 60 minutes. They had a legitimate wrestling match. You couldn't see a hole in anything. They didn't hit the ropes that much. There was a lot of 3 or 4 minute headlocks in that 60 minutes. Wouldn't play today. People's attention spans are shorter. They got remote controls, they got clickers, they got MTV, instant gratification, escort service. Can I have a blowjob and a pizza? I'm surprised that hadn't been done, by the way. Yeah, pizza and escort service. Get it all done all at the same time. But anyway, so what you do is you take that 60-minute match, you take out the 4-minute headlock, you put in a 20-second headlock, but you do the shit that they were doing elsewise, and you got a nice 18, 20-minute match, and it looks good, and it'll be exciting. Add the shit you can do. When you steal from one person, it's plagiarism. When you steal from many, it's research. Do what fits you, and get these little ideas, these little tips, these little hints, and you can see what guys did to get over and make themselves memorable. Because ultimately, it's about selling tickets, it's about drawing money, and you can't do that unless people remember you and they know when they came to see you they got their money's worth. And why did they? Because you did something that connected with them. And there's so many moves now being done that are death-defying, and guys are putting themselves in hospital. But at the same time, it boils down to this. The check is the same for the match, whether you go to the hospital or whether you just have a nice match and go home to your family. So I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm not saying don't lay your body on the line in the right situation, but pick your spots, and more importantly, it's not how many bumps you take, it's when you take the bump that you do take and whether the people like it, remember it, and it means something. Get the match over, you don't have to kill yourself. So everybody needs to think more, bump less, and realize that it's performance art, you're telling a story, you're connecting with an audience, and if you have the personality, the capability, and the psychology, then there's been a lot of people that weren't real athletic in this business made a lot of money just because they could get the people here. And that's what you need to do.
Okay, thank you very much.
And with that, I take a small bow. That's valuable. I like doing color commentary, but sometimes when you have a bad match, it's you can't come out and make fun of it, especially if it's somebody important involved.
Well, Monsieur always told me, he said, why can't we just shoot and say how really bad you are?
Yeah, I mean, but when you got a real stinker and you can't make fun of the people involved and you're trying to find any positive aspect of this situation to call attention to, and there's nothing there and you're dying,
I'll tell you how to do that.
It's tough.
No, it's not.
No?
No. First of all, play-by-play guys, you don't have to have play-by-play in anything. It's television.
They can see it.
Most play-by-play guys came from radio. In radio, you have to say, the Bears, they're out dressed in their blue uniforms with their gold C's on their helmet, and the Detroit Lions are out there in their gold and their silver and blue, and they're ready to butt heads. You gotta set the stage. You don't in wrestling. He throws them in, he hits them with a clothesline, he picks them up the big slam. They can see that. So if a match is shit, all you do is talk about their angle.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's the way to do it. This guy, you don't talk about the bad guy. Talk about the guy that can work, what he's got going. So you really can.
Both of them are bad. You just say,
you're talking about the man
folks,
that's
coming up next.
Or you talk about what you just saw or what you're about to see. Really, that's all you can do. But you can never say how bad they are because people can see it.
I always like when the guy throws the drop kick or the elbow or whatever, misses by 3 feet, and the guy takes the bump anyway. Well, he didn't catch all of that he wanted, but Bobby Heenan was trying to evade that maneuver and accidentally fell down and killed himself.
He missed it. He can't work.
He can't work.
But really, that really upset me. And Diamond is not a bad person, I believe. I don't really know him, like I said, but it was my fault for accepting it. And maybe some guy will tell somebody 10 years down the road, I saw Bobby Heenan and Mike Tenay accept a bottle of champagne from Diamond Dallas. I guess we have to give him champagne to get ourselves talked about. And that's not the way I operate.
Bobby, I think, truthfully and honestly, everybody in the business knows you would not put somebody over falsely for champagne. It would take money.
Yeah, I mean, you can take that bottle back and give me $4.
Yeah.
3 minutes, you're over like $1 million. But it bothered me. It really did. Oh, okay, thanks for dinner last night.
Oh, yeah, well, you're welcome. Thanks for letting me tell my raccoon story. And, yeah, something else.
That was Norville Austin. That was
Not only tough guys, and we talked about Hercules Hernandez and Dr. Death and Hacksaw Duggan.
Yes.
Hacksaw Duggan.
You never see, he killed you.
He couldn't see this far, but boy, if you got up in his face, he'd knock you out.
One eye was watching you, and the other was watching a fly. You ever notice?
He bealed this guy in Alexandria, Louisiana one night at the Holiday Inn.
I hit like a guy, and he bit.
He bealed the guy out of the bathroom, through the door, into the bar. You know, people are sitting there, all of a sudden, here comes a guy.
Toughest man, probably, Johnny Valentine.
Oh, yeah.
And Mad Dog Vachon. Winnipeg, Canada, night. Some guy, 1969. Lions and I at the bar, Bill Watts, Mad Dog, and his brother Butcher. Nice family.
Yeah.
Mad Dog and Butcher. You know what Dog told me? He says, I love my name. You know what it is spelled backwards? He loved it. So we're in the bar.
Okay, lots of literary geniuses over here.
So
Thank
we're-
you, C-A-T. I'm sorry.
So we're in the bar, and this drunken Canadian Mark comes up, and he wants to fool with Watts. He always picked the biggest guy. You know,
Yeah.
Watts got the little hat on. You know, it's like Cowboy Freddy from Omaha TV. Kid show with a straw horse.
T-Bar V Ranch.
Yeah. So he starts messing with Watts. And somehow he gets into it with Mad Dog. So Mad Dog goes to the guy, and the guy moves, and Mad Dog cracks his head on a wooden post in the middle of the bar. And it just opens him up, and no blood. Just a red crease in his head. And Dog turns to the guy and he says, now we're going to have some fun. And he gets the guy down, and he reaches in, and he starts pulling the guy's eye out.
Oh.
And Butcher, his brother, tries to pull him off. And they finally get Dog off the guy, and Dog is biting the guy. It's like no fight you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And as they kill you at the bar, Watts says, what would happen if you messed with a big guy? But Dog is a tough man. And we're in Denver one night. He went out to eat at a place called the White Spot. It's like a Denny's. So he's sitting at his own table by himself. He doesn't bother anybody.
Yeah.
This is Maurice Mad Dog Vachon. He didn't get the name with badges selling cookies. He's eating, and some guy sits down and says, hey, can I talk to you? Dog says, you are about to make the biggest mistake of your life. And he wipes off his fork. And the guy leaves. And the guy goes across the street. He's got about 4 friends. They're staying across the street, and they're talking. So Dog calls his brother, Paul. He said, Paul, I'm down here at the White Spot. They're at the Riviera Hotel. Drive down and meet me. We're going to have some fun. So Paul gets in the cab. You know Paul?
I've never
Paul
heard that
sings.
name, Paul.
Paul's a lovable guy.
He's the real big one, and Dog's the killer. Yeah.
So Dog walks outside the bar. He sees the guys across the street. So he walks across the street to walk through. One guy says, do you have a light? Dog says, let me check. And he reaches in his pockets. They go for it. Bang, 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 bang. He picks up a guy, and he runs with him to throw him through a plate glass window, and he trips. And he's mad now, so he kicked the guy so hard, he tore the toes off his wing-tip shoe. You know how it is to tear a toe off a wing-tip shoe? Paul pulls up in the cab, there's bodies all over the place, looks like Beirut. Dog is here and says, I'm sorry you missed out on your fun. But I'm telling you, he's a dog. He's an animal.
Well, he was there the night in Omaha when at the pay-per-view they pulled off his leg. Shawn Michaels and Nash in the match they set up the spot to pull his leg off, and I'm like, this guy, boy, he's all for the business, right? He's sitting there. He got hit by a car.
Before the car was going, he just jogging, the car hit him.
Dog
hit by a car.
Dog hit by a car.
He found out too later on that the surgeon that did it, they didn't have to amputate. They could have saved it.
Oh.
So now I guess he has some kind of a lawsuit or something. But he used to drive. He'd take his leg off and put it in the dash. He'd go through the toll gates. People look at the guy's leg in the dash.
That was the greatest spot in the world for people who didn't know. Here's Mad Dog Vachon, famous, former wrestler, wrestling legend. But for the people who didn't know he had a false leg, when they pulled that thing off and started beating each other over the head with it, and he's like, "Yes, I'm having fun tonight, Dave. He used my leg." He was great.
Oh, he was tough. He was tough. I remember when I went in Winnipeg, He's wrestling Adnan Casey, the Sheik. Sheik had those bandoleros of boats, remember?
Yeah.
So he got in the ring, and Dog went right for him. So he took off running, and Dog got the boss, and as he went over the top rope, Dog swung him. And it just missed him, but it caught him in the ankle. So he gets back to the dressing room, and Vern says to him, later, I watched the match. He said, your punches look like hell. He said, I didn't want to make him mad. But Dog, you could beat him all night. You know what he said to you? Thank you very much.
And Johnny Valentine was the same way.
Hard, you hit Johnny.
If you didn't hit him hard enough, he would beat you up.
Oh, yes. As hard as you would hit any human being. He goes, Johnny, my hands are bleeding. I can't hit you any harder, Johnny. He was very tough. He had something different up here, where he didn't feel pain, I believe. And he just...
He's what turned the Carolinas around, because it was a tag team territory doing...
Because they're plane crash.
Good business for a while.
Yeah.
Well, then they brought...
After, yeah.
Yeah, they brought Valentine in, George Scott did, and made it a single territory and put the U.S. title on him, and he was thinking a joint out with the long, slow, boring matches that people were like... But all of a sudden...
He will get over.
It takes
a while.
not stinking the joint out, because people every week would see people beating the piss and hearing up in the big buildings. These bam, bam, bam.
I told Johnny once,
yeah.
I said, Johnny, you know, don't ever hit me. I said, there's only this much room between my heart and your fist.
Well, it took a while. I've talked to the people that were there. It took like a year for them to gradually turn it into a more serious and a single-oriented style. And then they brought in Wahoo to work with Valentine, who was perfect. Wahoo, one of the toughest guys in the world. Don Jardine,
To me,
who taught Undertaker.
been the best world heavyweight champion the business would have ever had. Wahoo.
Yes.
You know why? He's an American Indian. He played pro football.
Legitimate, native.
Legitimate. Went to University of Oklahoma.
Good worker.
Could bleed, could be a heel, could be a baby face, could do a promo. You know why they never trusted him? Because he always bitched about money and payoffs. Then why don't you pay the man fairly? And maybe he won't do that. But that would have been the way to go.
He bitched about every single thing that somebody did wrong to him.
He always did.
Yes.
But that was Wahoo.
And it was, but it was a great part.
It was a charm.
And he would also bitch about other people's.
And he was
things
okay
too.
with it. He had no problem.
No, if you screwed somebody around, he'd go and say, "Hey, don't screw this way."
Yeah, you know, he was a good man. He was a real good man.
But when he was a heel in the Carolinas, the chop, when Marks would come at him, he would chop them, and they would fly over seats, and they weren't taking bumps. He would just chop, and the people saw those. Here's these Joe from the gas station that got chopped 10 feet in the air. Chop must fucking work. Shit.
We had an angle once in Columbus, Georgia. Remember Fred Wardstown?
Yes.
Fred, how you doing? Chase me hand like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freddie, I'm ready.
And Ralph Reed.
Brewster.
Yeah.
Is this
Have
we rehearsed this?
And Wahoo has a match where he loses each time. So he comes back the next week as Mr. Columbus. He's got red boots now, the singlet, and a mask. He's in a battle royal. It's a mask that ties behind, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the battle royal. Me and Bill Eadie, superstar. I tie Wahoo's mask to the top rope. He's back there selling him. He's not even working. I tie his mask to the top rope. Couple knots. I go away. So he starts to leave, and he can't. Now he's going up and down the rope, yelling, hey, somebody, get that thing off me! He's running up and down. He got so mad, he unmasked himself. He broke the string and took the mask out. Went, boy! It worked for me.
You're gone. Yeah, I said I was going to tell this. I can't tell as good as Stan, but this just totally doesn't have anything to do with what we were talking about, but I want to get it in because it was the other thing. Not the first thing, but the second thing. Stan always used to do the airplane rips, and I think I told him one about the magazine before. Kurt Hennig, they're working for Bird. Kurt gets on a plane, and he's like all the other guys. He's wearing a Zubaz and a T-shirt. He's got his big old carry-on bag. And Kurt walks down the aisleway, and Stan's sitting there. He's got his magazine, and Kurt's stuffing this big piano case-sized overhead, right, or bag overhead. Yeah, and there's a businessman sitting there in suit and tie, reading a newspaper, Wall Street Journal or whatever, and Stan just right out of the blue reaches over and hit his pants down, and there's Kurt's pissed. Stan says Kurt's penis was hanging in his man's face, and he goes, no! And Cornette, he's got one hand on the bag, and he's trying to pull his pants up from his ankles, and his dick's waving hard.
Hey, picture that young guy.
And the guy went, no, like he was a vampire, and shut him across.
If he'd have been a fire, he'd put the guy's eye out. You know, I give a little point.
If it had been Rocca, could have killed somebody.
Rocca, you'd be right through the pilot. Tony Rocca did.
There you have it.
I'm sitting up
And
there.
didn't Tony Rocca have a brother named Kerry Rocca?
Big Kerry Rocca.
Big Kerry Rocca.
Mm-hmm. He worked for a rent on one side, yeah. I'm gonna put him, there's a guy sitting next to me. He was like Bob Newhart, right? Simple kind of
Yeah.
guy. So he takes his little wedgies off, puts them in the seat, goes to sleep. I'm bored. Nothing to do. So I reach, I take the guy's shoes, and I open up, and I unzip the bag, not my bag, his bag.
Yeah.
I put his shoes in the bag, and zip it shut. I go to sleep. We land, I see the guy. I said, maybe they went underneath. Now I got the guy crawling in a suit underneath the seats. I said, you know, they probably went to the back because they put the brakes. Now I got the guy crawling this way in a trench coat. The guy said, I lost my shoes. I said, they gotta be here. So I got off the plane. I said, I'm not gonna leave. So I stood outside the door to wait. All of a sudden I see 4 O'Hare. I see 4 Chicago cops go on. So I gotta watch this. I buy a newspaper, I cut a hole in it. About 20 minutes. Here comes the guy with his bag, suit, no shoes. I put the shoes in the wrong bag. It might have been some librarian coming home from a seminar, and her husband's going to find wingtip shoes in her bag. So I never know what happened to the guy.
That used to be a big thing that guys would do is when you were on the plane and the guys would go to sleep, you take their carry-on bag from the compartment over their head and put it like in the last one in the back. Where not only can't they find it, but when they realize what's been done, they got to wait for everybody to get off the plane.
George Animal Steel used to do. As soon as the plane would land, you hear that? She would blow up the barf bag and pop it. And these poor people behind me just read their hearts.
Like goddamn Stan, he used to torment me on planes because he knew how I was anyway, right? And we'd be on like a 6 o'clock in the morning flight, and maybe because I can't go to sleep early, at night, so I'm maybe had 2 hours sleep. And I actually liked that on a plane because if I was practically at the point of exhaustion, I could potentially, if it was a smooth flight, possibly relax enough to be comfortable, possibly even nod off. So Stan discovered if you rolled up the in-flight magazine, it made a good thing to reach up and hit the goddamn stewardess call button over my head if he's sitting behind me, right? So I'd be sitting there and I'm like, okay, we're not gonna die, we're not gonna die, we're not gonna die. Right near, it's blue skies, nice, okay, no clouds out there. Yeah, boy, it was a long night last night. He'd reach up, bing, oh, shit. I'd jump up, now here comes the stewardess. I said, no, I didn't cut. Oh, okay, it was a mistake, sorry, okay. He'd wait 30 minutes. Oh, he would wait hours to set a rib up, Stan would. He'd wait 30 minutes. As soon as I got relaxed again. Here she comes. Now she's getting hot. What are you calling me for? I'm not, I swear. Another time she'd come. I said, there must be something wrong with that, ma'am. I don't know, And so that I'd go to sleep one time. I think Bob Eaton did this, though. In the car, I went to sleep in the van because my legs were stretched out. And when I woke up, my shoelaces had been taken out, started at the top and tied in knots at the bottom and then tied together. So they had to turn all the way on top and take them all out and start over again.
You have to do
It was something to pass the time.
You have to do that. You don't understand. If you don't do that, you're nuts. I used to fly from Seattle to Tampa. I'd leave at 11 o'clock, at 12 o'clock at night. I get to Chicago at 5. At 7 o'clock your flight to Tampa, home at 9. There's nothing happening at O'Hare at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
So you know that the shoe polish, the applicators where you rub it on,
Yeah.
and then you buff it off. Take a black one and put on the earpieces of the phones. Your phone over there? Yeah, unplug that. Just give me the headset.
Are you kidding? It's already unplugged.
There ain't no human being in the world that can see their ears. So you make this black, the guy gets on the phone, he's talking. Yeah. Oh, hold it, I got you. and then they hang up. Now, about 7:30, you see about 40 people walking through the airport with three-piece suits and a black ear. So, I would do that all the time. So, you ever was Cleveland in Akron?
Yes, Akron, Kansas.
No.
Was it Kansas Civic Center or
It's Cleveland. It's the...
Cleveland, downtown, municipal?
No, that's the old one.
Oh,
It's between.
the old building downtown.
Yes.
Whatever the name of it is. Where they used to throw the rocks and Vaseline
Oh.
jars and shoes and all that
Everything.
stuff. Yeah. Seriously, a Vaseline jar.
I put the black phone on the earpiece, right? Boys will call home.
Yeah.
I wait a couple hours. There's another guy with a black ear in the voice. I leave the building and I say, good night. I walk, cop says, good night, Mr. Heenan. He's got a black ear. But you just do those things. Now I get my buddy, listen to this. We go to a restaurant. I said, I got this gimmick. Put the shoe polish on the phone. We'll sit in the restaurant, across from the phones with our wives, and watch everybody eat. Don't tell our wives. He said, okay. What do I do? I said, just go and buy some black paste shoe polish. Okay. He goes, he buys it, puts it on the phone, we sit down. He doesn't buy black. He buys Cordova, which is reddish. You know who uses the phone? A Mexican guy. The same color as the shoes. You can't tell it here. But those are things you do.
You can't do that. Now everybody's got a cell phone. That's not, you can't find a payphone now. What
No.
is this bullshit technology? I just want to be able to find a payphone, put a quarter in and call somebody.
Forget it, 50 cents probably.
When the phone rings, I don't want it to play Stairway to Heaven or the theme from the Addams Family or whatever. I just want it to ring. I don't need to see a picture of the person that's calling. I know what they look like. If I don't know what they look like, I'm not going to answer because I don't want to talk to them anyway. I don't need it to take a picture because I'm looking at what I'm fucking looking at anyway. And I can tell the person that I'm talking to what the shit looks like rather than just showing it to them. Why do they need all this shit?
Right. Companies make money. Wrestling
No.
companies make money.
No.
ROH makes a fortune.
Especially now that they've got us.
Well, they don't pay us, so they must be paying somebody.
Yeah.
It's,
It's wrestling business all over again. We draw all the money and somebody else gets all the gravy. Rocca and them guys.
well, Tony, Kerry Rocket.
Kerry Rocca.
Yeah. I saw him, Argentina Rocket, in Cleveland in '67, New Year's Day. We were in Canton, Ohio. Mitsu Arakawa, Jack Lenz, and I said, Tony, what'd you do last night? Last night was New Year's Eve. He said, oh, Bobby, I went to a big union party. We drank all night, eat. Oh, I'm tired. Next guy, Tony, what'd you do last night? I had to go to the big house, take pictures of Cuba for president. He'd always tell everybody a different story. You never knew if the guy was nuts or not. He'd always give me a cigar, give this to the bruiser. It was all ripped in half. Yeah, I'll give it to him. But he was a funny guy.
He got the job as color commentator for the WWWF in the late 70s and could barely speak English at that point. Been in the country 25 years, right?
Yeah. Never made any money, though. Never made any money. He was owned by people. He was owned by Dr. Brown and Toots Montt and Vince Sr. And
I heard that he never really made it. Of all the money he drew, he never really got much.
Joe
It was sort of
Louis.
like a Primo Carnera boxing story, but in wrestling.
Yeah.
Primo made more money in wrestling than he did in boxing. Most people don't know that. He drew millions, but he never made anything in boxing. He was broke, and he finally, Lou Darrow in California took Primo Carnera, took his contract and broke him in, and made him some money in wrestling that he never made as a boxing champion.
You know, we had a match in St. Louis, Wednesday against Dory Funk Jr. and Joe Louis, the referee. And I don't know what they paid Joe, probably $1,000, maybe $2,000.
Yeah.
And Joe said this is the most money he'd ever had in his hand at one time. Can you imagine that?
And the government beat him to death for taxes after he joined the army, fought exhibition fights, war bond rallies,
Yeah.
World War II, that whole thing, and then they beat him up for taxes probably till he was dead.
So Ruth S., his first wife, he divorced her and was doing war bond rallies, and his parents turned him in and made him draft him. Yeah, so it was different those days, you know. But it was
There
just,
you have it. No, I can't.
but there's a lot of tough guys around. Ray Stevens told me, talk about signing things and doing stuff. Ray said, we have estimated tax now. Where is that? I said, we have to estimate how much you make. We're independent contractors. So how can I estimate what I'm going to make? I haven't made it yet. I said, we're working for Vern for 10 years. You know he's going to pay you.
Yeah.
Has it ever been more? Ever been less? It's always the same. Okay. So Ray sends in his tax form. Estimated what he's going to make. He said, but I didn't sign it. I said, why? He said, if I have to guess how much I'm going to make, let him guess who it is. They found him. They took him back. They arrested him. What characters are in the business? Huh?
Oh.
What's the best promoter you ever worked for?
Best in terms of the way I liked the way the wrestling was presented was. It was a miserably brutal, horrible, anguishing Beirut, Lebanon territory to work. But you learned. It was like the military school of wrestling.
Gordon Solie told me, I said, who was the best booker Ford ever had? He said, what? Really? I said, I don't know, maybe I like Bill. I like Bill. He called me when I was sick. Didn't have to do that. I like Bill. But some guys just didn't. He was strict.
He explained in Tampa at Wrestle Reunion a few weeks ago, he said, hey, I had to know people were going to be there on time, the people I was going to use, I was going to depend on, they had to protect the business, they had to conduct themselves professionally, blah, blah, blah. He had every rule in the book. But the thing is, young guys who had never made a name for themselves, the Freebirds, the Midnight Express, Jim Cornette, Rock and Roll Express, Terry Taylor, Magnum TA, Junkyard Dog, Hacksaw Duggan, all those guys, even if they had been in the business, and even if they had been in the business, they'd never been main eventers, they'd never been able to draw in a big territory on their own. He gave them all their first shot, and when he knew what he wanted to do with somebody, he could get them over. And he had that atmosphere that he created with his territory to where that his fans responded to certain things. He had trained them.
He wanted to Vern.
Yeah, and
he was powerful like Vern.
And he credits Eddie Graham with a lot of his booking mind because he learned from Eddie Graham in the Atlanta days and Florida days and all that stuff. But I think that was a great atmosphere to be in for wrestling because you knew, when I was 22 years old and all of a sudden I'm the main event manager in a big territory and we're going to the Superdome and they're doing big business. Now everybody wants to give me a job. Before I couldn't get booked in Kansas City if I'd have tried. As a matter of fact, I did try one time. I'm starving to death in Tennessee because Jimmy Hart was there and they didn't want to really use me, but I think Jerry Jarrett was afraid if they fired me, his mother'd get mad. So I'm making about $250 a week, and Ken Wayne.
You were on top though.
Yeah, well, there you go. And Ken Wayne actually went to Kansas City. Buck Robley took over the book. Colonel Buckley Christopher Robley, Yellow Belly Buck Robley III. He had 18 million nicknames. And I said, Ken, do you think they need a manager? And he called in, and Buck said, can he work too? And Ken said, well, he can have a manager match, but he's only been in business 9 months. He said, well, we can't pay anybody outside the ring. Buck was booking and working on top and making $300 a week.
Let me tell some of all the promoters out there, I hope are watching this. You bunch of sorry-ass bastards, and I'll tell you why. He's a manager. He's a wrestler. He's just not. It's entertainment. There are no real wrestlers. He plays the part of a wrestler. I play the part of a manager. I drew as much money, he drew as much money as anybody we managed. For us to take less money than our men is an insult to us. You're wrong. They were all wrong. Mickey Rooney could not be Red Butler and Gone with the Wind. I couldn't either. They couldn't do what we do. We have to be paid for what we do. It's an entertainment business. They never understood that. Well, you managed, you didn't work. Yes, I did. The guy in the ring worked with a guy he could depend on. I'm out there with 10,000 people with my back turned. You want me to take half money for that? But I did, and that was wrong. And they were wrong for paying us that way.
And when I got with Bobby and Dennis and we started working for Watts, he recognized that, and Bobby and Dennis went to bat for me, and I started, during the time before No and after No, but during the time I was with the Midnight Express, we always got paid the same.
The reason they didn't pay you is because they didn't have to. Same with me. I'm in Chicago, $28,000 house, I get $50. Crusher says to Bruiser, how can you pay the kid that? He said he'd make nothing if he was off tonight.
Yeah, that's the way
the mentality was.
They felt about everything.
I said, what they felt.
And then when we got together as a team, and then we had a little problem with World Class too, because they didn't pay me the same as Bobby Dennis when we went there, and Bobby Dennis went to bat.
You're on the TV, you're in the ring, you're moving.
So one time, I swear to God, Dennis Condrey got a $63 payoff. $63. Shaved it right down to the nub. Couldn't give him 65 like you were telling. Not even a 40 instead of 50. $63. But so then It ended up went the other way. Our last year in WCW, Jim Herd was such a fucking moronic idiot. He gives new meaning to the term stupidity. This guy threw money, bushelfuls, out the window. The Midnight Express and my contracts all ended at the same time. We didn't get Laurel and Hardy. We were all together, right? And they always had me talk about the contract. So it's Bobby Eaton, Stanley, and myself talking to Jim Herd on the phone. God, that was miserable. I'd rather go to the dentist, have all my front teeth pulled out with no Novocaine. But at any rate,
I channel lock pliers.
Yes, with channel lock pliers. And we had been on a ridiculous contract with Crockett because Crockett knew at the time that he signed it. See, he started renegotiating everybody's contracts when he thought he was going to get the pay-per-view and the TV sponsorship money and everything. Then he's in the middle of he already did the Road Warriors and we're next, and he hadn't done anybody else's yet, and he finds out that they're broke, which he didn't know. They were $2 million in the hole until the bookkeeper went in and caught up that weekend, and that's a whole different story. No, in all honesty,
really?
He had no idea, because Dusty Rhodes was not stupid, and Jim Crockett was not stupid. They would not have spent all that money if they'd have known they were in the hole. That's where everybody's wrong.
Wasn't Dusty's money?
But Dusty wouldn't have done it.
Because he didn't blow it on his clothes or Gene Craig.
And Jimmy wouldn't have let him do it. It was a family. I just got that. It was a family mom and pop business that got too big. They kept the same people, and the bookkeeper, and I remember his name, and I won't say it in case there's fear of libel, was an idiot.
No, we knew he'll be out for 10 more years.
And he didn't know. Yeah, he walked in one day. Sandy Scott was an eyewitness. There's Jimmy Crockett's door. Right here comes the bookkeeper. Sandy Scott sitting in his office right there. Goes in, closes the door. 3 minutes later, comes out, head down, walks out. Here comes Jimmy, face white. Went from booming business to $2 million in the hole like that because they wanted to buy another plane. So Jimmy said, Dave, find out where we're at on cash and everything. Well, this guy had shit stacked up in his office from 6 months before. He didn't know what they were doing. He said, everything's okay. No, I fucked. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, so Jim Herd, who's an idiot. Our contracts for Crockett had been ridiculous because he renegotiated and we found out he was broke. And he said, fuck, I'm going to sell. The fucking guy, he gave us more than we asked for because it wasn't going to come from him anyway, right? So we're on $200 and something thousand a year, but we didn't actually get it. And then we, ended up getting 40 cents on the dollar when he filed bankruptcy, and the lawyer said, you better take the 40 cents.
He thought he was tough, too.
Jimmy?
Herd.
Oh, yeah. Herd thought he could fight.
He was a 4 foot 10 inch gray-haired 70-year-old man
with 6 inches of hair. So it comes time to renegotiate our contracts, and I think this was last year we were there, and of course he wants to cut us. It was like 200 something thousand. He offered like 75 grand. I said, Jim, we expected a cut, but that is to the bone. That's an incision. That's not a cut. That's
amputation.
That's an amputation.
Emasculation.
So then it gets up to 100. And I knew what some of the other guys were making. They were kind of on the same level. And I said, no, I think, and I swear to God, I said this on my mother's life. I said, Jim, I think that the Midnight Express as a team are worth more than that. I know what some of the other guys are making. I will take the 100 if you will give them 125 apiece. Well, I ain't like that. He calls me back. He gives me 125 and sticks with them 100. I said, Jim, no, you don't understand. The boys need to make more money. They're taking the bumps in this instance, plus they're my friends, and if we knew we wasn't going to be there much longer because these people, if it was still in business, we weren't going to be around them. So I want to get something. I said, look, I'm doing fine. I'll take the 100. They need 125. Comes back, I'll call you back. Calls back, says, give them 110, give you 130. Jim, I swear to God, by the time it was over, the Midnight Express got, I think, $122,500, and I got 150. You was willing to take the 100.
You should have fired the Midnight Express.
Yeah.
You should have made 2.5.
Yeah. Every time I would say, I'm okay, but I got to have more money for them, or we can't come, and I ain't coming unless they come. We're all together. He'd give me more money instead of them, and I would. So then finally, they got to within 10 grand or whatever it was of what we'd originally wanted, but he gave me an extra 50 grand for doing nothing. And I was doing nothing differently. They put me on the hotline, but 4 people called that fucking thing. 1-900 WCW bite me, whatever it was. Nobody called that shit.
Herd called twice.
Yeah. He would call to listen because occasionally I'd hear something. You need to re-record something from somebody there, and I'll, well, Jim didn't like it.
You know what they did to me? When I was at WCW, they gave me a hotline. Well, Gene would always have scoops and stories. I'm not into that. I didn't know what to do in a hotline. I had no idea what to do. So you know what I did? I told them I took pictures of the match last night, and I showed them pictures on the phone. I said, look at this one, the guy coming off the top rope. I know what they're listening. I said, now wait, I got another one. You don't believe the guy ran in. See that? See how he's coming? I had no picture. I'm sitting at home. I'm drunk by the pool, recording this thing. I don't know if we ever had. They said it was the best hotline they ever had.
Yeah, you had to update it. And they put me on Thursday or some shit. And I actually ended up, they said I got more calls than anybody but JR. But you just call in, put an access number in, and update the thing, and just say any bullshit you wanted to say. And they never checked.
I was at Bunkhouse back, Jimmy Golden, and,
Yeah.
and with my favorite interviewer, Colonel Parker.
Robert Fuller.
And I thought,
God damn it, Ron Sylvia, give me that hat.
and those big feet. And I saw him at Hawk's funeral. And I like Robert Fuller. He's a funny guy. He's a good talent.
Yeah.
And he came out there. He had the big E in his ring. Elvis gave me this. I mean, he was great. Entertaining. Believe me, entertaining. And so I do. I would say that I was on Bucksnort with Bucksnort.
Bunkhouse
Bunk, and we're having a parade, and we went over there, and it's amazing they have no electricity or lights, but we have a fire, we're still eating, and everybody's pretty much drunk, and most of the mules are dressed up in clothes, and I would do stuff like that, and everybody liked that. I had no idea what to do. I had to do it from 6 to 7 on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So I sit by the pool, get tank call, boom, I know what to do. They said, great. Believe me, no one ever heard it.
Maybe the scary thing is they actually paid 99 cents a minute, and they were listening to it.
And then Oakland, I'll say this now, because I like Gene, but I never told him this. He would always call me and ask me for, what do you know about Jim Cornette? I'd make up all kinds of crap I didn't know about anybody. Gene said, thank you. I'll keep it on the slide. So Gene put on his highlights. I don't even know what happened.
Call me for the report on the scoop of the inside of exactly why.
No, right about everything.
Sources indicate.
That's the fun part.
Oh yeah.
Because nothing makes sense. That's like Charles Manson says. No sense makes sense.
Well,
And that's what our business is.
I tell the guys in OVW, you don't understand. Because all the guys now that come in the
Say
business.
what it is. OVW is what?
Ohio Valley Wrestling. OVWrestling.com. But anyway, no, all the guys that come in the business now are already smart from the internet. They think that they know how everything is done and how everything goes on and what all has happened, and they know enough to be dangerous. And that now, before when we came in the business, you would learn from scratch by having your eyes opened up to all this. And now they read the internet or whatever, and they think they know everything, so they come in and you can't teach them. I tell all the guys in OVW, this is not a show, this is not entertainment. You have to look at it as if it was really happening to you, and you react accordingly.
So what are you making?
What we do is we make the preposterous posterous. So I say that for posterity.
And talking about your posterior, I'm going to say that
The king is dead.
the thing is that, no, when I went to the ring, I pretended in my mind that I really managed this guy.
Yeah.
You have to. If you just go out there and just sit in the chair and put your 10, 15, 20 minutes in, people will see it. It'll show your work. I loved it. I felt good, but I remember Guy Mitchell, the first guy I managed. He gave me the best advice. He said, this is the most rewarding and heartbreaking business you'll ever be in your life. One day, you'll pull up to the building, there'll be 10,000 cars. My God, you're going to make some money. And you don't. Next night, you're in a spot show, you think you're at 25, you get 30. He says, they'll break your heart. He says, you have to understand, that's how the business is. And that's what Guy Mitchell taught me. And that's the truth. If I didn't like this business, I have a brain, I have a mouth, I have physical abilities. I can go get a job and do something. Not much, I can't come maybe I was a peak freak or something. But no, I mean, you either do it or you don't. That's
Yeah.
all it is. But They told me, most people
Well,
want business.
last night when I was coming to the ring and you were standing in the ring and I knew the people, I knew what reaction they were going to have, and I was waiting for that because that to me was the enjoyment of the trip. Was not, although I enjoyed the payoff and enjoyed the fine accommodations and the wonderful Italian food with the mayonnaise last night in the restaurant.
There's Italian food and mayo.
Exactly.
I know.
But I want to hear those people react the way that I think they're going to react before I go out there, because then I know that I did what I wanted to do and I did it right. Because if I go out there and I think, okay, we're going to do this and this is the way it's going to work and it's going to get over and blah blah blah, and I go out and they react totally another way, then I think, what the? I don't know what I'm doing.
Did you ever manage a guy that didn't like you managing?
I've managed a couple people that didn't like it having any manager. Period. Yeah.
Same with me and Rick Rude. I like Rick's talent.
Yeah.
I like his look. I like the trunks with the faces. I like the kissing, the mustache, the Tom Selleck look, Chippendales.
He wanted to be out there though alone.
But he thought I tried to steal his heat.
Yeah.
And I told Kurt Hennig once. Kurt said, they went to school together. I said, if I were to steal his heat, I could do it every night. Because it's 2 against 1. I'm on the floor, he's in there working. I can run around. Everybody can watch me.
You're loose.
I can steal all I wanted to. The only time I did my stuff was when he was selling. I never did it when he was, but he didn't understand the mentality of a manager or what my job was. First of all, they use managers on top. They're not going to use the guys in the openers, right? So if you're with a manager, you're going to work on top, you moron.
And your package, if your package, not Rocca's package, but if your package has more heat as a combination than you might have as a single, then you're going to do better anyway.
We went to the airport in Buffalo. We were going to Niagara Falls, 20 miles away. So I see Rude getting a car. So I was going to take cab. I take cabs. They're the same as the car, price-wise.
Yeah.
But I don't have to turn the cab in. The cab knows how to get to the building. I don't. I still write it off on my expenses. $50 for a car, $50 for a cab. Same thing. He knows how to drive. I don't have to. Of course, I can go to gyms or restaurants, do whatever I want to if I want to. But so I was going to take a cab to Niagara Falls. So I told Rude, I said, "Are you renting a car to go to Niagara Falls?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'll go half with you if you want." Yeah, I'd rather go by myself. A 20-mile ride. It's like walking across the parking lot. I said, "No problem." So I went by myself. But he didn't understand.
Yeah.
Some people just are like that. He's not a bad guy. But
Did I ever tell the Rick Rude story about the Dennis Condrey spot? When we worked with him in Louisiana, we had just come in, the Midnight Express just been put together, was put together. He's going to get us over, right? So we're working with guys, Lanny Poffo and Mike Jackson.
I'll listen to that.
Josh Stroud, okay. While Bobby Pease, hey, wait a minute, hold on. You're about to miss the can. We're working with, sorry. Oh, you're going to do it to me, aren't you? We're working with Rick Rude and somebody. And Rude's so green, he's got chlorophyll coming out of his pores. And Dennis tags in and locks up with Rude. And Rude gets a headlock. And they walk around the ring once. And they walk around the ring twice. And they walk around the ring 3 times. And finally, Dennis just lets go, or Rude lets go and tags out. And the other guy comes in. So after the match, I said, "Dennis, why did Rick Rude get in there, take a headlock on you, walk 3 circles around the ring, and then tag out and never do anything else?" Dennis called to one spot. "I'll shoot you off and drop down, nail Bobby, and get it again." Rude said, "What?" He said, "I'll shoot you off and drop down, nail Bobby, and get it again." Rude said, "What?" Dennis said, "I will throw you into the ropes. I will fall down in front of you, jump over me, continue moving, strike Bobby in the face, and return to the headlock." Rude said, "I can't get it." Dennis said, "Fuck it, tag out." And from that, he went to be one of the greatest heels in the business. You know, everybody. Yes.
What was the last company I worked for?
WCW.
That's better than a prune age.
Did you remember after you took the herd to wipe your bish off?
Oh, I don't do that. I don't do that. There's no cleaning up this stuff.
They were asking about Vince McMahon's stories. He's got the gimmick where he has to push everybody in his pool at his house. If you go over, if you're on a creative team or you go over to shoot something or whatever, everybody goes in the pool with their clothes on. So I didn't know this. One day I'm over there. He said, something like, "What's that?" Bruce Pritchard is there. "What's that?" What? Whose shop I go? So he gave me some clothes to wear home that were dry, and I got back in because I kept them. And
Sure.
actually, I should eBay them now because they're Vince McMahon's.
For some reason, yeah, they like to throw people in the pool. It's kind of like the pilots. They don't even know what the pool is. Let's go throw whoever comes by in the pool, in the cement pond. What? I don't know.
And when they were sitting there, me and Bruce Pritchard and Pat Patterson, and Vince has to take a phone call inside. And Pat's sitting there and he's stewing now because Vince is always taking phone calls because, I mean, he's everywhere.
And Pat wants to smoke.
Yeah, well, but we're outside at the pool. He can't, but now we're getting nothing done because we can't do anything, and so Pat's sitting there. He looks over and the gardener, because there's always a gardener working on Vince's place. Jesus Christ, the stuff is like with manicure scissors. So all of a sudden, Pat goes around the side. Here comes Vince back. He sits down. "Where'd Pat go?" We said, "Oh, he had to go to the bathroom or something." Pat has gone and got one of those leaf blower gimmicks and fired it up. One of those diesel power jobs. Makes a big roar like a chainsaw. It blows shit and fumes in the air and everything. And now the other side of the hedge, we're sitting at the pool, the other side of the hedge, he's got that thing running and he's starting to blow, right? And leaves are starting to fly up.
As only Pat can.
As only Pat can. And
I'm talking about
think
leaves.
about it, yes, leaves. And he's getting closer and closer and closer. And Vince starts to go. And now the leaves are kind of coming over and you can smell that gas fume and
As
it's
only
really
Pat
loud.
can.
And Vince is trying to write something down. He thinks it's a gardener. He's like, "Hey, amigo, amigo." And all of a sudden, ram, he revs it up some more. This blows right through the hedge, right in Vince's face, all the gas fumes and the leaves coming. And Vince is like, "Hey, amigo," he's going to go kick his goddamn gardener's ass. And there comes Pat around the corner with the leaf blower.
You know this is about smoke.
Oh,
No,
no,
smoke
no,
around
no,
it.
never, no.
So we're doing
Oh, shit,
Saturday
wait.
night.
I've distracted myself.
You've neutered yourself. You know? Live on TV.
Oh, shit. Well, just cover for me, Bobby.
I'll get the cover if I can. No. We're in Milwaukee at Bradley Center doing Saturday night main event for NBC. So Jesse and Vince are doing the broadcast, and Jesse comes in the dressing room, he's smoking in Vince's room, smoking a cigar. Vince says, "Hey, put that thing out. Get that thing out." So Jesse walks outside, he taps it out, and he lays it on the ledge right there. So we get through with the meeting, and we all leave, and Jesse forgets his cigar and leaves. So I pick up the cigar, and I put it in Vince's pocket of his coat. Now Vince is smelling cigar all day. Now he's mad as hell at Jesse. He thinks the cigar smoker got in his coat. I'm not sure if he ever found a cigar. Jesse's no longer with the company.
Jesse was the first guy I ever saw. I said something to this in the restaurant last night to somebody. Jesse was the first guy I ever saw, because I'm a big Wendy's fan. He ate 3 double Wendy's, plain, nothing. Because I was this drive stooge in Memphis when I started. I'd pick the guys up when they came in on the weekend, Patera or Jesse or whoever's working with Lawler, and take them to the Saturday show or whatever. We go through Wendy's. I'll pay. Okay, great. A free meal at this point. For me is a big thing. He gets 3 doubles with nothing. He's on some kind of diet, meat and bread. I couldn't even do that. That's way too much cattle
That's called
byproduct for
hobo
me to get
food.
down it.
Hobo food.
But like he's keeping this physique on,
Like a pickle when I heard him.
Yeah.
Or your onion.
Yeah.
In Newark.
Yeah, there you go. The bud.
But Jesse could eat. I remember when Sioux Falls, Rapid City, South Dakota, 6 o'clock at night, him and Adrian go across the street and have a prime rib dinner. And he has 2 pieces of chocolate cream pie, Jesse. Going in the ring 2 hours. But then again, he didn't do nothing, so it doesn't matter. This guy could ate a moose and a Buick. Didn't mean nothing.
There used to be a buffet in Oklahoma City at Dr. Death, Ernie Ladd,
Oh,
Dennis
Ernie,
Bobby, Buddy Landell, Carl Fergie, myself, a bunch of, whoever the heels were,
Hey,
would all
Carl
go to
Fergie.
this place, and it was a classy hotel with ice sculptures and everything. $14.95, all you can eat. And they had the prime rib and all of the mimosa and all this fancy shit, piano music. And here come these fucking ragtag band of wrestlers in. Hercules Hernandez all jacked up. Here comes Ernie Ladd, 6'9", 315 pounds, stepping on toes and keeping on walking. Here goes Buddy Landell combing his hair with his backpack tucked under his arm. Yeah. And remember when all the wrestlers carried the bank bags instead of the wallets, right? At First National Bank, you know. Buddy's doing this number, and we all come in and sit down and just, I mean, they're having it back there, they're shooting steer in the back, slaying cows, killing pigs, trying to keep up with us. We're eating a place out of House and Home. And they always, and I mean, I think one of the guys started chewing on the ice sculpture one day.
He's at a place outside of Quincy, Illinois, on the way back to Kansas City. It closed at 11, and Sonny Myers would get there at 10 to 11. All the chicken you can eat. About 12:30, they'd ask him to leave. So every time he'd come, they called him Bones. Here comes Bones. And so he'd get there right before they closed, and we'd stay there forever. The guy had to kick him.
Oh, you wonder, I'll tell you another Vince story.
Actually, I just used to go through the buffet, eat with his fork. Oh yeah, Dobra. I said, you know what, he Polish is a gimmick. Go ahead.
No, another Vince story. The federal air marshals came to talk to him one time after he got off the plane. We're flying back from TV somewhere. We're going to New York to go back home. And it's fogged in or rained in or whatever. And, you know, we're sitting in first class. Vince, because he got the ticket, and me, because I had the frequent flyer thing and upgraded, you know. And they come on and they make the announcement, ladies and gentlemen, New York is fogged in or whatever. We're turning around. We're going back to Pittsburgh or whatever. He wanted more of an explanation. He stood up and said, oh, no, we're not. He goes up and starts knocking on the fucking door. I don't think he talked to the stewardess first. He wanted to know specifically why we couldn't go to this airport or that airport or the other airport, what the weather conditions were, what the ceiling was, what the visibility was. He needed some mathematics here. He was not going to accept just this arbitrary decision, we're going back to Pittsburgh. He was very polite about it, but he wanted to know, goddamn, some more information.
Same
it was hilarious.
I'm going to L.A. with Vince Patterson and Bruce and I. I'm sitting in the last row of first class. Vince is in the front, but Pat's over here, Bruce is here. So Vince says, as this one, would you mind sitting here? Puts him here, puts Pat up there, does everything, moves everybody around so he can get his bookwork down. I'm sitting next to a guy with a rickshaw and a turban. I don't know where these people came from. As we start to take off, I said, stop. And Sue says, what's the matter? I said, the pirate's in the back. Vince switched seats with him. So Vince looks at me and says, but he did have that command, didn't he?
Oh yeah, and he was, like I said, he was very polite about it, but he wanted further information than what they were giving him.
Yes.
And so, goddamn, we land.
You ever wait
The air marshals come and they talk to him, and he told him, he said, I just wanted to make sure they were making the right decision. They let him go. They're like, fuck, all right. And then,
you know why they didn't arrest him? Because they realized they had to get the suit back by 11.
we ended up, this may have been the same time, we ended up flying to Albany and renting a car to drive back, which was 100, and Vince is going to drive now. If he doesn't have work to do, he's going to drive because he's going to be in command, and it's raining, and he's going approximately 95 to 105 on the interstate in this rented Lincoln Town car, and I'm in the back seat, and if you'd have stuck a lump of coal up my ass, you'd have got a 10-carat diamond out, because I'm like, oh, God, we're going to die. We're going to slide off the road. No. Whew. Like goddamn Mario McMahon Andretti got us back in like an hour and 15 minutes from Albany to LaGuardia or whatever. And another time, I'm driving. Two quick stories. I'm driving because Vince is in the back working. JR, I think Bruce. The only time that I can ever remember that I've ever left a hotel and left my wallet, I get pulled over for speeding. I'm driving Vince McMahon, the cop pulls me over, and I'm like, shit. Can you see your driver's license? No, you can't. Who are you? So I tell him my name, my address, it's on everything, all this stuff. So he has me sit back in the back, right in the car there, you know, I sort of stand back there or whatever. He goes up to verify the story. What's his name? Vince says, James E. Cornette. Which I got news for you. If you don't know by now, the E's a gimmick.
I gave the E. That was me.
Yeah.
You know what E's for?
After James E. Barnett.
You know what E's for? Elastic ass.
Hey!
Not you though.
Oh, okay. That was the other one. But And so now Vince is giving us this cop another name. But then Vince managed to explain that it was my gimmick name and who he was and we're wrestlers. So then the cop comes back and starts giving it to me. Well, this is real serious. We're going to have to, I'm afraid you're going in. You know, I'm like, oh, shit. And then I look up and I see him looking back, snickering. I'm like, fuck. He said, go on about your business. I don't even think I got a ticket after Vince finished with him. I think we got a police escort on.
We're Wally Carbo from Northern Minneapolis, Ray Stevens and I, and Wally Carbo's girlfriend.
Oh my God, I'd love to have seen her just once.
She worked for Hertz Rent-A-Car. Oh, yeah. Mm.
I used to know the owner of Hertz Rent-A-Car, Big Dick Hertz.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Cleveland, did good business.
Yes. And we're driving to Dauphin, Manitoba, which is 500 miles north of Winnipeg.
Oh my
And Winnipeg
God.
is 500 miles north of Minneapolis. It's cold. So right there in the back, this rat is up front and driving, and Wally's just sitting there. So on our way back, so Ray and I pick up a case of beer and some wine, and Wally's got some wine, but we can't find the gas stations. So Wally says, pal, pull into town to the girl. He says, we got to find some place to go get some gas. So we pull into a hotel. So Wally goes in the hotel, cops pull up behind. They say, everybody out of the car. They said, you have beer in the car. Who are you? I said, I was hitchhiking. they picked me up. So they asked Ray. Ray said, I'm with him. So Ray and I stand there. So Wally comes up. They take Wally to the car and they fine him $250 for having open beer in his car and picking up hitchhikers. We were back in the car. We start driving. Wally didn't say nothing. We were driving Wally. After 3 minutes, Wally says, you fuckers. I said, Ray, it's going to cost us each $2.50 for the rest of our lives. He's going to get out of us. But the cop just said, stand here. I said, what are you going to do? I said, we're hitchhiking.
One more Vince car story.
Sure.
Because I have in my wrestling library, I have a set of Vince's rental car keys. Because Vince has this, I don't know, you have heard of a Hertz Gold card, right? He's got either a platinum or a diamond or something. He can rent these cars and he can drop them off anywhere. He can leave them in a dish in the median on the interstate, 20 miles from the nearest town, and they will come and get it with this card he has. I don't know, I've never seen anything like it. So his habit of getting to a commercial flight is that you arrive up at the front door of the airport approximately 10 minutes before the gate, or the plane is leaving the gate. So you're running. He'll just drive the car up on the curb, or used to before 9/11, at the baggage, drop off. He'll drive the car up on the curb and okay, that's where I'm dropping it off. And they'll come in. I don't know how much it costs him per year. Maybe he just buys them. I don't know. But one time he tells me we're running late, even late for him. So I'm supposed to drop the car off at a curb while he checks the bags. Well, I drop the car off, stick the keys in my pocket. I'm frantic because I like to get to the airport 2 hours early so I can calm down. I run to the plane, forget to take the keys, and drop them off at the Hertz counter. So about halfway there on the flight, I stick my hand in my pocket. I said, oh, shit. And here I pull it out. It says VK McMahon, Hertz, whatever. I said, Vince, I still got the keys to that car. He said, well, it's okay, pal. Where'd you put it? On the curb. They'll come get it. Okay. So I kept the keys. I put them in my library. I mean, he'd leave them at hotels. Not even airport hotels, just hotels where we happen to might be, if it was convenient.
Yeah, so he is. He doesn't care. He makes his own rules.
Any man who will fill up a brand new Corvette with cement will do just about any goddamn thing.
He brought his wife a brand new Mercedes, about $130,000 car, silver. He brought it to Springfield, Mass. So he parks it in the building. No one's near it. It's a Linda's car. Silver. So I got the makeup girl. I said, you have any silver nail polish? She said, yes. I just swipe it along the side of the car. So I said, Vince, somebody keyed your car. What? So he sends him a screw. He goes back. He's like, this is Linda's car. He says, you better put a guard on it and maybe keep watching it all day long. For the whole weekend, every place he went in the building, he had a guard watching. So I went over with a rag and washed it off. It was done. I never told him it was me or nothing. He still doesn't know unless he's watching it.
which being all truth, I seriously doubt that he will.
And he wasn't involved.
And I wasn't even there.
Okay.
I wasn't even there. It was Owen. It wasn't me. I wasn't even there.
But, yeah, they're so easy sometimes to do things. It just happens.
Flair had me one time after Atlanta TV. He's going to stay over and fly to some far off place or whatever. He says, "Will you drive my car home back to Charlotte?" I said, "Sure, yeah, thanks, Rick. You know, it's the only time I'll be driving that expensive a car." I get in the thing. It's got like 1/8 of a tank of gas. So I get outside the loop in Atlanta and stop at a gas station. I don't know what, it was a very expensive car and a very fancy car. I don't know what kind of car it was. I'm not a real big car buff. It might have been one of those. But I do know that it took me 30 minutes to figure out how to get the gas hatch open. I couldn't find the button, the release. I'm in the glove compartment. Now it's midnight. I got a 4-hour drive in front of me. I'm sitting at this gas station for half an hour. I got the glove compartment open. I'm reading the manual. Nothing will tell me how to open this goddamn gas hatch. And finally, I accidentally hit whatever it was that did it in there. It sprung open. There were so many things on the side of the seat. I cooked myself. We're driving to Columbia one day. He's even got heated back seats, Flair. And it's summertime, right? And I'm sitting there, and I always sweat anyway, right? But I'm sweating a special. Jeez, Rick, can you turn the air up? Yeah, warm back there? Okay, yeah. Jesus Christ, it's fucking cracked the window a little bit. It's not even that hot outside. I'm roasting. He had the seat heat turned on. He's cooking me. It's all individual controls. He could just heat my seat up. My ass is soaked with sweat, and I'm back there. Jesus Christ.
He had his 50th birthday party, so everybody's going to go to Charlotte. Yeah. So my wife says, "Well, when do we leave?" I said, "We're not going anywhere." I said, "First of all, Rick won't ever remember we've been there." I saw him 2 days later. I said, "Rick, what a party." He said, "Hey, thanks for coming." No problem. They never knew I was there. I said, "We're not going to go."
He gave me like, I can't remember, ridiculous $50 or $100 one time to come over and hook his VCRs up. Because it's not that he couldn't, it's just he didn't want to bother with messing with it.
Rick doesn't have a retention span.
He goes from one thing to another.
He just hops.
And then Bulldog Bob Brown said, "No, like that." You know, he'd go. So I hooked his VCRs up, and then I think he had me come over one time and figure out his answering machines. Because he had like 5 phone lines in the house. I don't know.
You know how I first met Rick? I punched him in the mouth. He was a mark in Minneapolis. I was walking to the ring, and he came up and was messing with me and Bill Howard.
Oh my God!
And they came out to help us, guys. We had a little trouble, and Rick was he just was with the camp or something. And I punched. I knew he was heavy like Dusty. He had brown hair, and I punched him in the mouth. That was a mark.
Oh, hi, Rick. Sorry. I watched the movie The Wrestler on tape the other day, and it was cool seeing that Gagne and Robinson again, and there's Flair sitting there with the dark hair and chubby and all.
Do you remember the part where they bust into the dressing room and they Bruiser and Crusher they rescue Sam Menaker?
Yes.
And then they throw the guy through the door.
No, it was Sam Menaker was the gangster. They rescued Ed Asner.
And threw the guy through the door.
Yeah.
They weren't sure that guy could have done the bump. So they flew me in from Indianapolis to take the bump through the door. They only had 2 doors that were breakaway. And this stuntman wasn't an athlete. He had pads all over his arms and legs and bodies under his suit. So when they threw him through the door was here, the wall in the hallway was there. So he went through the door at 200 miles an hour and just stopped. But it was such a good bump the guy took, because they cleaned him, that they didn't do it again. So I never got to be in the movie.
Oh, but man.
When they break into the dressing room, my bag is on the shelf in there. So that's it. I flew to Minneapolis to do the movie. It cost me $300, and they paid my fare. But I stayed.
And your bag is in the movie.
And my bag's in the movie, and then
It was great just watching the clips, because Stevens was taking when it was the Ray Stevens bump, before it was the Ric Flair bump, before it was the Shawn Michaels bump, and he did it better than anybody. I don't know how the heck he did that. And just Robinson's style, so different than everything, now.
I told Robinson once, I said, everything you do is beautiful, and it hurts.
But of course, and Gagne still won in the end. Imagine that, because it said executive producer Vern Gagne. I wonder who's going over it.
Well, the promoters buy into the movie. Eddie Graham and everybody. Yeah. Eddie Graham had a match with Wilbur Snyder that they took out of the movie. Eddie's got the governor of Florida, the mayor of Tampa, everybody at this opening.
Oh,
Eddie's not in the movie.
Because they mentioned his name, but they didn't show him.
Eddie told him all. Eddie did the movie part, but they cut it out. And he invested in it. Now we see all these people there.
Oh my
It had to
God.
be an embarrassment. But that's the movie business, I guess.
Well, if the guy puts money in, generally you can probably make the final cut. But I loved it when the Ed Asner's secretary goes, it's Jim Barnett from Australia calling about those bookings, or get with Kaniski and Murdoch about those matches next month or whatever.
Ed Asner saved my
was
dog's
hilarious.
life.
What now?
Ed Asner saved my dog's life.
How's that?
We had the premiere for the movie in Indianapolis. So we had a party over at Bruiser's house, and Bruiser has a pool. So I had a dog was a poodle and schnauzer, a schnoodle, all black, I call him Spot. And I put these little red pants on and a Dictor Bruiser t-shirt. So I brought him over to the party, he'd walk around, so we sat down. As he sat down, his ass was over the pool, and he went into the pool. Now he's got pants on. So Ed Asner reached in and pulled my dog, I said, why is this dog wearing clothes? I said, he lives here. But that was it, Ed Asner saved my dog's life.
Oh gosh.
Well, interesting life we've had. It's not over yet.
Have you ever met anybody else that could say that Ed Asner saved their dog's life? Lou, by God, Grant. Who came that close to Mary Tyler Moore? Now, not even 6 degrees of separation, just 2. You were that close to Mary Tyler Moore.
Right. Ooh, let me tell you a story about her.
Oh.
We're at WrestleMania in Toronto, right? I go to the ring with the Barbarian. He's got a vest on with fur and chains. And he's got the pain. You know how Barb works, right?
Yeah.
Mary Tyler,
Another tough guy.
Oh, yes. Mary Tyler Moore and her fiancé, her husband, are sitting in the first row.
Oh, Grant Tinker.
No, it was a doctor. The guy she
Oh,
married
the one after. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
And Grant Tinker was head of NBC or some CBS
Yeah.
sometimes. But she had this guy with her. And she didn't really look that great. And there was Robert Goulet. He sang the Canadian national anthem for WrestleMania.
Okay, I remember that.
Oh, Canada, I'm sorry we don't use deodorant. Or stuff like that. I'm going through customs one day. In Canada, they said citizenship. I said United States. They said, you have proof? I said, I have deodorant. And they let me go. So she went, bang, bang, let me go. So Mary Tyler Moore says to me, she goes backstage with Robert Goulet and everything. So I'm standing, they introduce us all. And she says, oh, you managed that man with the fur vest and the chains. I said, yeah. She says, could I have that vest? I said, let me go check. So I said, Barb, Mary Tyler Moore wants your vest. You don't know who Mary Tyler Moore is. He says, can I have Mary Tyler Moore? I said, no.
No.
But she wants your vest. No. So I went back, I said, it's his favorite vest. I swear to you, I had no idea what she wanted that vest for.
What would she have done, I wonder? You never know.
You never know.
Barb goes, he goes out, what was that movie Piper made? Body Slam or something like that? Okay, somehow or another, several of the boys go out, and Barbarian, hope I'm not telling anything to embarrass, I love you, Barb. Barbarian goes out as one of the guys be in the movie, and he's at the bar at the hotel having a number of drinks. He's not really allowed to drink when he's home in Charlotte, because the only thing that the Barbarian is scared of in the world is his wife. And she won't let him drink, Saney.
And she's bigger than him.
Yes.
And tougher.
And tougher. Barb gets mad when they try to close the hotel bar and decides that they're not going to close it. And when they reiterate that they are going to close it, he reiterates they're not going to close it by taking the beer bottles and breaking them all over his head, one down the bar.
Like Trump does.
And he's sitting there bleeding, and he's drinking, and he's going to continue drinking.
He's his night out of the town.
Yeah, so they call 17 cops who come in and try to plead with the guy, please leave, and he's not going to go. Well, yeah, they try to make him go, and they can't. They mace him, and he wipes it off and eats it.
He took it away from the cop and spread it and then kissed the cop.
Yeah. They somehow restrain him enough to get him. They can't cuff him because his arms won't go because his shoulders are so big. They finally get him to the car, and he starts headbutting the police car. And he caves the roof in, busts his head open again, caves the roof in, breaks the window out, whatever, headbutting the police car. And finally, they get him to the jail. They have a doctor or somebody sew him up, and then he headbutts the wall and opens himself up again. And finally, he's there for the night. And the next day, he had to call Saney. Saney flies out from Charlotte and takes him out of jail like this. And he's going, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, but I'm sorry. One woman by the ear, right? 17 cops. He was a monster. I mean, the sweetest guy in the world. Great talent. I don't know why he never got a bigger spot than what he did for the way he could work, but he didn't
take bumps like the other Samoans.
he didn't project a lot of as violent. He's like Dan Severn. Dan Severn whipped 97 people in a row without breathing hard before breakfast, but he doesn't scare you because you don't realize how dangerous he is by looking at him.
I think this paint and everything looks silly.
Yeah, it added a little
Humperdinck, I love red.
Yeah.
I love red. What a stupid name though. Sir Oliver Humperdinck. You can't get heat with a name like that. Sounds like a urine infection for a kid. You have Sir Oliver Humperdinck in a terminal. I mean, I don't know what that means.
Is there any cure?
Oh, you're Humperdinck. And you're Oliver. I mean, I don't know. But really, names are important. You have a great name, Johnny Valentine.
That was
Buddy
great.
Rogers.
Yeah.
John Stud, 2 Ds.
Yeah.
Those are great names. Cosgrove Rosary is not a great name.
Well, you know my name test. I always told Vince, I give the name test when I come up with a name for somebody. WWF Championship, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock. WWF Championship, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker. WWF Championship, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Doink the Clown. It doesn't pass my name test. If I can't see that on the marquee, I don't think that should be a name.
The clown would have done some business if you'd done it right. If you'd have made him an evil clown.
That's what he was supposed to be originally, right? And then they
He was good.
It was Matt Bourne was
Matt
the
Bourne.
original.
He was good
He
at
was
it.
evil.
Yes.
Yes.
And he laughed and then he looked at you, which is fine. We would send the agents up into the crowd with Doink. And Goulet is one of the agents. And he's on the 2-way. And the kid jumped the clown and he fell. And Goulet...
It was a long taping night and people were really rowdy and they were being stalled by this clown, right?
And Goulet sends word back to the royal position. He says, the kids had jumped him. Now, he fell over. He says, the clown is down. Everybody just,
come in Berlin, the clown is down. The clown is down. That went on for years afterwards. Every time someone
there were 10 clowns.
The clown is down.
There were 4 clowns.
Because they had like three towns a night running or whatever, so they'd start sending in.
There was
everybody.
Matt Bourne, and then they got rid of him for some
But
reason.
then Ray Apollo took over for a while.
Yeah, but Kearns.
Kern did it, Lombardi did it.
So I'm doing Raw. Now, Matt Bourne was the first one.
Yeah.
He's left-handed. Kearns is right-handed. So I said, notice, and then Kearns came out from under the ring. There was 2 joints. I said, now the one in the ring is left-handed. I said, this guy underneath the ring is right-handed. And then Lombardi's up in the crowd, right? I said, there's the other joint. And we all know he goes both ways. And then I was told not to say that ever again. But it was nothing about his sexuality. I just made it a happy comment.
You know what? And if Doink, when he had Dink with him, had ever gotten a title match when Dory Funk Jr. was the NWA champion, it could have been Doink with Dink against Dunk.
Damn. I think we're about done.
I think you got to catch your plane. Or did they put you on the Greyhound again?
No, I have to go, I take a cab to Seattle from here, and then I go rickshaw to Memphis.
Make that connection to FedEx. They're going to get you the rest of the way home in a box.
And
right?
Jimmy Garvin's find me.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, my friend.
Is that good,
Thank you
guys?
both, guys.
Yeah.